everybody, it's Heather. So I know that I'm pretty new to YouTube and to making videos, and you may also notice so far that the videos that are posted are maybe all over the place. Post a little bit of this kind of content, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. But you'll just come to see, if you stick around for any length of time, that's just how I roll. So if you do like this content and you feel like it may be helpful for you, feel free, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, especially what we're going to be talking about today. It may feel bad or shameful or embarrassing or disappointing or any number of things, and you really want to have community. And if you know anybody else going through the same thing, invite them into the fold. So today's topic is leaving medical school, or maybe not even going to medical school. But I'm coming at it from the angle of I was in medical school, made it to my second year, a bit into my second year, and it just was not working out. So let's start with this. If you were here and you were interested in this content, you were either medical school bound or you are in medical school. So let me just say this. You deserve a round of applause. And I'm just going to give it to you right here, right now, just me, by myself, in my house, in my massage room, in my nice, comfy recliner. So you've made it this far, however far that is. That is an accomplishment. Wherever you are in your journey, you're almost there, you are there. You're amazing. You've done this. Yay, good for you. And I hope you have people in your life that build you up and that you have that kind of support system and that are, telling you these great things about yourself. Now, the thing is about being the kind of person who would even pursue medicine in the first place. So you're probably an overachiever. You're probably very intelligent. You're probably even perfectionistic. Most definitely, you're perfectionistic. All of those things. And that can be helpful and that can be hurtful. If you take on these identities, as who you are, like, I am a smart person. I am going to be a doctor. I am this. I only do things perfectly. Otherwise, I don't turn them out. But that's great. You can do great things. You can achieve great things, but it can also be, hold you back. And especially, the way that you think about yourself. But anyway, so we'll get into that. But let me just say, good job for being wherever you are. Now, if you have landed on this video, you have thought about leaving medical school or not even going. And you may or may not have told anybody this. I would wager to bet that maybe you haven't, because it doesn't feel good and everybody is pumped that you're there, and everybody else's hopes and dreams are also riding on and tied up into your hopes and dreams. And it can feel not so good to talk about that. And it's like at medical school, even the ones that like to tell you, oh, we're not competitive, we're collaborative. We want our students to succeed. We do XYZ for our students. That is well and fine. But even the most collaborative places can be a breeding ground for overly perfectionism. If perfectionism is on a spectrum, and some perfection is here, and oh my gosh, like we have to be perfect or we're gonna die. Over here, like medical school is like firmly here. So you may not be talking to anyone about this, but I say to you, talk to other people about this. Go to your advisor, or if you've got a counselor on staff at school, go talk to them. Or if you're already working with a counselor in your community, or find one. I'm sure that your school has resources. Medical school costs a lot of money, and part of it is for all these resources that they're giving to their students. So I'm sure that there is someone that you can talk to, or family or friends. Let somebody know what you're thinking about. Bounce ideas off other people. So also, we know that medical school is difficult. Either if you're not in medical school yet, you've probably shadowed, some doctors. I know a lot of people that go to medical school have family members who have been to medical school. And, I'm sure you've either seen it like firsthand from those family members, you've lived that kind of life with them. Maybe your parents that's how you grew up, or, you've shadowed, or whatever it is. So you probably have some intimate knowledge of what life is like as a doctor. But even before that, if your school, or when you're deciding on schools, if you get a chance to visit a medical school, and some have like a day where you can go and shadow a medical student, not just like doctors who are already out, like doing their doctory things, but medical students. And you can ask them questions and see what their life is like. I encourage you to do that as well, not just shadowing the actual doctors, but shadowing medical students. You can I'm sure a medical school, I don't know who you would go to, whether it be like somebody in admissions or student life, or what department that would be. But I'm sure you could contact someone there, and even if they don't have we allow incoming students to shadow current students, I'm sure they could put you in contact with a student who would be willing to talk to you. I highly encourage that. But we know that medical school is grueling for everybody. My own personal experience, I feel like, I don't want to say it's extra hard, because wherever you are in your life, your own life is like your basis for comparison. But I would say, I feel anyway, like my situation was extra hard. I am a mom. I have 3 kids. I have a husband. And they could not go with me when I went to school. I applied to 16 different schools. I got into 2 of them. And they were both out of state. So I did not get into any schools in my state. And so I got into 2 out-of-state schools. And then it, came down to, well, which one is closer? And I picked the one that was a little bit closer. Not that much closer. Probably doesn't matter at this point. But I picked the one that was closer. And I stayed there. I stayed, in that town, in that state during the week. And then I'd drive home most weekends. And that really did cut into my study time. I was still doing, like a lot of things for the kids, like homework help, like, scheduling appointments, like emotional support, mom type stuff, parent type stuff. and the driving back and forth and the like missing my family while I was there. Like I knew all of these things were going to be difficult, but once I got there and once I was actually in it, it proved even more difficult than I thought it was going to be. Also, I was the oldest student in my class, and that made it a little bit challenging as well. It was, sometimes it was harder to relate, and I just didn't feel like I fit in. I just felt like, imposter syndrome to the nth degree, which, everybody, well, most people anyway, like feel some measure of imposter syndrome in medical school anyway. But I just, for a million reasons, it was just super tough. I didn't fit in. I just didn't have a good experience. And starting even within 6 weeks of being there, I was just starting to feel super low, not feeling well, just did not feel good. Like mentally didn't feel good, like, just physically being there. But I was like, well, I've already sacrificed so much for this. My family has already sacrificed so much for this. Like my future and their futures are like tied up in this. Like I have to make this work. And so I kept going for as long as I could. And then it just the proverbial crap hit the fan. It was just like, this is not good for me. This is not good for anybody. I can't keep doing this. Like, I can't do it. So, if you are in that position, I'm going to reiterate, talk to somebody, talk to multiple somebodies, and it's okay. And you don't need to feel ashamed. You don't need to feel embarrassed. You don't need to feel disappointed in yourself. What you do need is a support system. What you do need is probably like a heaping helping of self-compassion. For whatever reason, whatever you thought going into medical school, like, I had good intentions. I wasn't somebody that was like, I want to be here for the money. I want to be here for the prestige. I want to be here for the respect. Those kinds of things. I will say that those things are nice. Like, that is definitely icing on the cake to this profession. But I do care a lot about serving other people. I'm a massage therapist. I've been a massage therapist, since before medical school. And I care about serving people and helping people figure out like problems within their bodies. It's just something that I do. I deeply identify with being a healer. And where was I going with this? Sometimes I forget where I was. I was talking about talk to somebody, self-compassion, those kinds of things. And it doesn't matter, whatever reason you are coming into this, people grow, people change, people discover new things about themselves, about how they relate to the world, about, what they value themselves. And I think a lot of people who identify as being smart people, who identify as being intelligent, there are very few career paths that go along with that identity. There's being a lawyer, engineer, doctor, researcher, like some kind of PhD or something like that. Those are like smart people paths in life. But I think if you're going along, and that's one of the reasons that you're doing this, and it's like, I think I didn't know this until maybe recently. I've always definitely identified as smart person. That was like my whole thing, like growing up. It was, basically all I had. Like I, came from the middle of nowhere, West Virginia. Didn't have much. We were really poor, but I did well in school, and other people saw me as smart. And so, like, that's kind of what I had. and that's like what got me noticed, and that's what got like good things in my life at the time. And so I just really identified with that. And I didn't want to waste my smart peopleness. At some point along the way, I just overly identified with this, label, and felt like, well, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to serve other people, but I'm also a smart person. So where does, serving other people and being a healer and being a smart person, being a healer, and helping others in like the way that I'd become accustomed to, but even more so, like, where do all of those things converge? And it's like, doctor, of course. So however you are coming to this, definitely have compassion for yourself. There is a way out. Do not tell yourself or get stuck in the mindset that this is it, I have to do this. Or, it can lead you to a really dark place, or, really not feeling good about yourself. And again, I'm gonna keep saying, talk to people. Talk to your support people, talk to professional people. If you need mental health help, get it. There is not a single thing wrong with that. There is not a single thing wrong with you. So it is better to identify this now than to be 40, 50 years old and think, when you hit like 40, 45 years old and your midlife crisis, and it's like everything starts unraveling, like, what have I been doing with my life? Like, I thought this is what I had to do. Either like my parents pushed me into this, or I pushed myself into this, or whatever else, and this just is not fulfilling. This does not meet my values. And that's the thing. You really need to look at your values, not necessarily what society values, not what your parents value. I really hope I don't get any like emails or comments from upset parents after somebody like quits medical school and they're like, what did you do to my kid? Please don't stick your parents on me. But what you value in your life, what is important to you? What does your life look like? And I knew that there would be pitfalls and challenges for me in medicine, like working for somebody else, which my plan was, well, I can do anything for like 8 years, and then after that, I'll have my own practice, and I'll do whatever, I'll do my own thing. But even 8 years proved to be, it's just too much. And I am not somebody who really wants to work in a team. Like, I know that more about myself now. I work better alone. I value a very quiet life. I value time with my family. I value time in my garden. I value time with my pets and my friends. And even in medical school, and it's grueling, I felt that I was failing in all areas of my life. I felt that I was failing as a student. I felt that I was failing as a mother. I felt that I was failing as a wife. I felt that I was failing as a friend, as a daughter, as a sister, like all the various roles that I had in my life. I was like failing at all of them, I felt like. And, we all know, again, medical school is difficult. I don't think really anyone gets through it without some blood, sweat, and tears. But there's a difference in something being difficult and something just sucking. And for me, it wasn't just difficult, it sucked. And I'm big on not quitting things, like, stick things out as long as I can. I did stick it out as long as I could, but I still ended up it just like not working out. I can't do this. So don't beat yourself up. It is better to know this about yourself now, to get out, wherever you are, like look inside yourself. If maybe you're somebody, you just need extra support. Maybe you need some counseling. Maybe you need, time spent with more advisors. Maybe you need some more clinical experiences to, remember like why you're doing this. Whatever it is. Whatever it is, maybe that's what you need. But maybe you need to get out. And that is a brave and courageous and big thing to realize. And if you get to that point, you are not a failure. You are not a failure at medical school, and you are not a failure at life. And it doesn't mean that you're not a smart person anymore, and it doesn't mean that you can't still keep that intelligent label, whatever those things are. It doesn't mean any of that. It means that you know who you are and you know what you value. So with that said, feel free to, drop some comments, if you want to get in contact with me, feel free, and I'll post my contact information in the comments. And really just don't beat yourself up. Have some self-compassion wherever you are. Most of us, I say probably all of us, are doing our absolute level best no matter where we are in life. So know that. Take that to heart and talk to the people in your life. I'm rooting for you. Good luck.